Bueno, happy Women's History Month, mi gente. That's right. We are celebrating the contributions made by women in our society, which brings us to our first guest, who is a Chicana actor, filmmaker, and founder of Semillita Productions, a media arts production company created in response to the lack of diversity in roles for Latinx actors and the stories being told about the Pan-Latinx experience in America. Semillita Productions aims to lift and support the voices that are unapologetically Chicanx, Latinx, femme with full creative force. And joining us to share more is actor, filmmaker, and Semillita Productions founder, Cynthia Bastidas. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much, Rhina. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I know we're going to talk all things Semillita Productions, but I do want our audience to know that you and I shared a very special moment last year in, when was it, July, in July of 2024. Like, we actually traveled to New Orleans together as part of a production that was being pitched at the Essence Festival.
Yes.
And, you know, we're going to shout out Sunma while we're here, right?
Of course, shout out to Sunma,
Yeah, Sunma
obviously.
Subrao, because that's how we met.
Yes.
And Dique Latino, you know, which is the first Afro-Latino television series that is basically being developed, right? We'll leave it there.
Right, the Amigo family, yes.
Right, the Amigo family,
Yes.
right? Originally it was Dique Latino. Thank you for correcting me on that, because, you know, there's been so many renditions.
Yes, of course.
But, you know, I just wanted to acknowledge that because we became, it's different when you work with individuals and you travel with them, right?
Right.
You kind of get to know each other.
We bond very quickly.
Yeah, it's a different level of bonding.
Yes.
And then there's this project that you've taken on, I guess, that actually brought you together with Surma.
Correct.
Which is about hair as well.
Correct, yes.
Right? And the Afro-Latino experience, or Afro-Latine is the term that we're using now. And so I just wanted to bring that into the space because it's important that we all understand that we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
And everybody's bringing their, you know, respective fields into what we decide is going to be the narrative.
Correct. And, you know, I'm really glad that you brought that up because I'm not Afro-Latine. So when the film protagonist, who is a personal friend of mine, she is Afro-Boricua, when she brought this idea to me, I kind of felt like I'm not the right one to tell this story because I don't have the same lived experience as you.
Right.
You know, but she was like, no, but I trust you. You're my friend. I don't want to share some of these personal things with anybody else. And I thought, you know what? If I have a company, a production company that says I uplift Latina women, that obviously includes Afro-Latina women. Right? And I was like, so this is actually a mandate that I created for myself. So I need to step up and uplift, you know? Like it was interesting little situation for me because I wasn't sure.
I understand the hesitation. I get it.
Because I was like, well, it's about like who's telling the stories, right?
Right.
So so I was just sensitive to that. But you're correct. Now, if you ask me, now I feel like I absolutely have a right to tell this story because this is a story that affects people in my community. It affects my community, and it indirectly affects anybody who is not fitting within the standard of beauty that exists in Latina culture. And I fall within that as well. A lot of people fall within that. So I feel like it's everybody's responsibility to challenge this and to talk about it. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, and we're gonna dive into that even further. However, I do want to get back to Semillita Productions, right? Because you were like, if I had my own production company, you're like, if I have well, you do now, right?
It's like, and that's what you do. You hold yourself accountable, right?
Right, absolutely. And so let's start with the name Semillita, which translated to English means seeds, right? It defines seeds, right? So why seeds, which I think is beautiful.
So, okay, the name has double meaning.
Okay.
Seeds is the second meaning.
Okay.
The very first meaning, so, okay, when I was a kid, my mother calls all little girls semillitas. And she
So it's like little seeds.
yes,
Okay.
all little girls. Oh, but I mean, just all women.
Okay, got it.
And she can use it like she can use it like ay, esa semillita que bonita, or she'll be like, ay, semillita, like, oh, girl, right? Like, you know, but semillita also means, you know, allá abajo. So when I was a little girl, she'd be like, te lavaste bien la semillita, you know, like, you know, so for me, yes. So when I thought about,
It's got a lot of meanings, mi gente.
so when I thought about the name of the company, I immediately thought semillita because it's feminine. In my mind, it's completely feminine. It's creative. It's powerful. And that's what I wanted the company to be. And also there's like that other meaning as that we know, little seeds that grow, that flourish, that create, which is all the things that women do. So that's why I named it
Love it.
Semillita Productions.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You broke it down. It's femme all the way. We'll say that.
It is. It is.
And so, so I understand that you also have other projects that
Yes.
have been produced through Semillita Productions.
Yeah.
Before we even dive into I Feel Pretty, which is the documentary you're currently working on.
Correct.
As an actor who I guess decided to take matters into their own hands, like, was your approach more in the writing side or the self-employment side?
It was definitely in the writing side. So there was I don't remember exactly like what prompted this. Maybe I was getting older and things were thinning out in terms of opportunities. But I remember there was a collection of friends that we were always talking about the roles that we were being offered or asked to audition for. And I thought, so a lot of things I was just saying, like, you know what, I'm not interested in this, but I needed to have a creative outlet. So I decided to write, just for writing's sake, just para desahogarme, you know, just for that purpose. And that ended up where I'm at now.
Right.
And I haven't yet written anything where I feel like I need to put myself in the center. Not that I don't want to, it's just the stories don't warrant that.
Right, right. You're really about telling the story that I guess you birthed, right, in that moment.
Yeah.
Of what you're going through. And I thought it was important that we mention this because I know it started as a 10-minute play and then it morphed itself into a short film.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're taking these courses and now you became a film documentary director, producer,
Right.
which now leads us into I Feel Pretty. And I understand that you've been committed to this particular individual for a couple of years now.
Yeah. So that first film you were talking about is called Misguidance. It was a 14-minute short, narrative short. That's on my page if anybody's interested in watching that. Yes, so I've been following Cristina Garcia Leon. She's a Bronx native, by the way. She grew up in the South Bronx for 3 years. It'll be 3 years in March.
Wow.
Oh, wait, this month. That's
Yeah.
right. This month.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's like
right.
a couple of weeks. Oh, my God. Yeah, time flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been following her for 3 years. We're hoping to wrap up principal photography by the end of 2025. Right now, I'm still working with her.
And it's a full-length feature.
It's a full-length feature documentary, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so let's just share with our audience the premise. And again, just what the whole journey has been for both of you, right? Because you're documenting it and you're watching somebody, for lack of a better word, metamorphose. Right? Is metamorphosize?
Yeah, I think
Metamorphosis.
it's a word now.
Right?
I mean, it's a word today.
Is it metamorphosize? I'm like, well, we know the transformation
what it
is
is.
what we're referring to.
Language is always evolving.
Right. And so, how has that been? I mean, obviously that creates a certain level of a bond between you two. And then there's this rediscovery of self.
Yeah, it's been really exciting. You know, Cristina and I have been friends for over 10 years, and we've collaborated through our faith work and our artistic work. So this definitely has brought us a lot closer. I was surprised at, as well as I know her, some of the things that she revealed and shared with me, some deep traumas. And yeah, I just...
Like the inner racism that exists within family, even if it's
Yeah.
unintentional,
Yes.
it's still there.
It's still there.
And so I'm putting it out there because obviously I saw the trailer, and and as a curly hair girl, I understand what that language is of, you know, our girl Sulma again, pelo malo no existe.
Pelo malo.
But they, you know, like, oh, you want to hook up with somebody, you want to make sure that you hook up with somebody que no tiene pelo malo, and you know your hair isn't straight, it's pelo malo, and we're trying to shift that narrative.
Yes.
And she had gone through her own journey of straightening her hair, right?
Yeah, she had been, so both her parents are Puerto Rican, but her mother is non-Afro descendant, and her father is. He's a visibly black man. And so her mother just didn't know how to care for her hair, and put on top of like all the other cultural stuff, right? So she had been perming her hair since she was like 10 years old, and we're talking now, she's in her mid-50s. So it's been 40 years of her relaxing her hair, and she didn't know what she looked like, you know, with her natural hair.
Right.
Now she does, and she looks fantastic.
Right, but psychologically, that's its own journey.
Yes.
Right, because for all these years, I know I went through the whole perming too, because it was like, oh, it makes it more manageable.
Yes.
Even though I kept it curly, it was like, oh, okay, but we're gonna soften it. I mean, obviously, not using these chemicals has allowed me to get to where I am now. I mean, this was very many years ago, but it's a relatable story, is my point.
Yeah.
In the sense of us really having these conversations within our families, so that there's this understanding of the impact that they're really having when they use certain language. Right?
Yeah,
and or
absolutely.
make those judgments.
Yeah.
Even if it's done, you know, with no
And
ill
that's the thing that's confusing,
intentions. Yes.
because it's people who love you who say things to you like this. Like, things would be said to, it's funny because working with Christina triggered, or just memories of my own, of, you know, don't go outside porque te vas a poner más prieta, you know, because you're going to get darker, you know, than you already are. You know, I also have curly hair, and I had a relative who would, when I would stay with her, she would just yank, you know, and I don't have...
To pull the curls out.
Oh, yeah, she hated it. And, you know, and I knew that, I felt like there was something wrong with me.
Right.
You know, I knew, the term pelo malo was never used, but anyway, I knew that I didn't fit in. I didn't look right.
Right.
And yes.
Right. Well, it's not even a matter of fitting in. It's a matter of like everybody being inclusive.
I know.
Really, no, I say that. I'm just trying to shift the language in the way we're communicating, because that's what people really
Well,
need
that's
to.
what they say. Like, right, we need to expand the definition of beauty, right? Why see less beauty when we could see more beauty?
Right. I like variety personally.
Me too.
On a personal level, I like variety. Right. I mean, that's where it's at. No, de verdad.
What are we talking about now, Rhina?
Okay, me pasé. She got me.
Anyway, the movie. Back to I Feel Pretty.
Yeah, exactly. And so, after all these years of dedication, I know you're coming into a wrap up, right? And
yes.
So, all right.
We're hoping. Yes.
Right. No. Well, eventually you gotta. That's it.
We gotta pull the plug.
Exactly, and be like, okay, we have enough content, and now it's time to wrap it up and package it and get it out into the world.
Well, let me talk a little bit about that. So yes, the plan is, we have to wrap by the end of 2025. We're done with most of the work with Cristina. So right now we're really focusing on getting context from subject matter experts. And that's how I met, shout out Sulma Arzu Brown, because she has this wonderful book that you guys already discussed. I have other professors from Fordham, Harvard,
who are also providing historical
context. We're also going to be talking to media specialists to talk about how media has been used. And when I say media, I mean all types of media: newspaper, advertisements, television, film, you know, everything, you know, to, you know, propagate these prejudices and basically anti-blackness in our culture. Like, let's just call it what it is.
Right.
You know, psychologists to talk about the psychological effects, but also how to heal, right? How to heal personally, how do we heal as a community? And then just look at examples of how some people have been doing that. So this is not a sad story, right? This is an empowerment story, a resilience story. This is what I want to show.
Well, I think you're on your way based on what I've already experienced in your trailer. So I just want to shout you out.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. I cannot wait to see the final product, and definitely let's revisit you and perhaps the star of the film.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh, she's great. Yes.
Yeah. We gotta make sure that we stay on top of the progression, and also the conversation really is where it's at. And you're just using that as a medium to enroll people into really considering having those deep conversations and understanding that it's really a means of healing together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Ay, thank you, hermana.
I know, qué linda. Oh my gosh, Cynthia Bastidas, everyone. Once again, actor, filmmaker, and Semillita Productions founder. And for more on I Feel Pretty and her other productions, feel free to visit semillitaproductions.com. Stay tuned. There's more open when we return.